Welcome to Boxing Fans Talk TV. I'm your host, TDT. You can refer to me as Miss T. And yes, I had yesterday off. I took my holiday. Shit. I relaxed and everything. I couldn't have got nothing done anyway. There's so many parties around here, so much loud music and fireworks. You couldn't even hear the TV. That's how loud it was over here. So I enjoyed the rest. Anyway, y'all see the thumbnail. Wilder really did. He really left a void in the heavyweight division, and they want him back. Yes. They want him back, but they want to use and abuse him like however they want. And I would think Wilder got to be strategic and careful about that. But before we get into that, y'all know the drill. Let's turn to. Welcome back. Welcome back. Happy holidays to you guys. I hope you had a fun and safe holiday. I come on Monday through Friday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And my email is boxingfanstalk@gmail.com. I got a lot of questions in, but I was thinking about what question I was going to answer. I may answer one today or save it to tomorrow. But thank you guys for writing in and with your questions. There's no dumb questions. Um, if I can help, I'll help. If I don't know, I'll tell you I don't know. But thank you. And make sure, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. If you haven't subscribed already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. If you have, you already locked in. Lean on that leasy when you step in my heezy. In other words, AKA, hit the like button when you come into my square circle. But anywho, it's a water check. Water check. Ain't nothing changed. Top of the hour, water check. I always tell you to drink as much water as you can per day. Here at Boxing Fans Talk TV, we advocate for everybody to drink at least 100 ounces of water a day. Y'all know that formula. Every now and then I say the formula just in case we got new listeners. It's half your body weight in ounces. However, there is a such thing as water overdose. So that's why we advocate for at least 100 ounces a day. Now, you might not always reach your goal like today. The day sucked for me. Yesterday was on point. I think I got a gallon in yesterday, to be honest. I know I got over 100 ounces, but I was drinking water food from after midnight. By the time the morning came, I think I was, because your day starts after midnight. I was up to about 8 bottles of water by the time the morning came. For some reason, I couldn't sleep that good. It was loud around here, so I didn't really get no good sleep, and I was like off and on falling into sleep. So I didn't have a real sleep last night. But by the morning, by the time I actually got into a sleep and woke up like again around 8:30, 9 o'clock that morning, I had drank like 8 bottles already by that time. So then I just kept drinking water. So I really think I exceeded my goal yesterday. But we always say if you're gonna drink water, because you're not a big water drinker, 2 times during the day that you must drink the water. And we talking about a cup of water, 8 ounces. That's first thing in the morning before your toes hit the ground and you waking up. If you think of your body like an engine, the water is the lube. You got a lot of moving parts, you know, in the body. So your body act differently when it's woke and in sleep. So we advocate for you to drink at least 8 ounces first thing in the morning before you do anything, before you brush your teeth, before you do anything. Um, and then the second time we say to drink water, and this is recommended by the Heart Association. It's good for the heart actually. That we recommend that you drink another 8 ounces before you lay it down for the night. For the night, y'all, not your final lay down, but you lay it down for the night. Now, when you're looking at TV or doing something else, you know what I'm saying. But before you go into your deep sleep for the night, drink 8 ounces of water because you got a lot of reads going on, revamping, rebooting, recharging. You cleaning out toxins. Also of note, the average human burns 800 to 900 calories of water in their sleep. So that's the perfect time to drink the water. The water is a life sustainer. It helps move things around and out of your body, and you need that because we know first thing in the morning when you wake up, that's one of the first things everybody does is they got to go to the bathroom, especially having slept all night. So today, ooh, I'm up to 7 or 8. I can't remember. So I'm not doing too well. I drank 8 ounce bottles of water. That's how I buy it. I drink spring water. Hold on one second. Got real hot in here. Okay. I drink 8 ounce bottles of water and then natural spring water. That's my preference. Some people drink purified water and other things. I don't drink all that. I drink spring water. I definitely don't drink distilled water. If you want to see why you shouldn't drink distilled water, because I still hear people saying, I drink distilled water. Get you a plant and put it in the window or put it outside and make sure you water that plant. I mean, follow the plants come nowadays with directions. So follow the directions in watering, right? And water it with distilled water and watch how it die. And that ought to tell you everything you need to know. So I'm not saying that if you drink distilled water, you're gonna die. But if you give it distilled water to some other living thing and it dies, that ought to tell you everything you need to know. I know distilled water has its place, but maybe not for you to be drinking. So today I fell short. Yesterday I actually ate. I told you guys the guy that's gonna do the testimony. Um I guess that at the end of July. I hope he's ready by then. Um I told him I would do the regiment with him. I told him I would do it just like him. And that shit was kicking my ass. I had to adjust mine a little bit because I went to the doctor. I'll go to the doctor like at least every 3 months at least. But normally like 6 months. And I get my blood drawn and I have them test certain things like your A1C, your hemoglobin, all the important stuff. And I actually had the test done and they said I was, depleting my minerals, which is another way of saying depleting your electrolytes. So my potassium was dropping, and my magnesium. And for those of you who don't know, when that starts to happen, that's how people have strokes and heart attacks. Now, you look at it like an older person problem, but it could be a young person problem too, because electrolytes is electrolytes. Some people can hold on to them things in their body from whatever they eat, and some people can't. But I will tell you this: if you neglect your vitamins and minerals for most of your young life, when you get older, and older can be starting around late 30s and 40s, then your body won't hold on to them. That's just what happens. Kind of like when people say, when your parents say, "Don't remember you used to bend your eyelid." They say, "Don't do that. It's gonna get stuck like that." Or don't read in the dark because you're gonna lose your eyesight. But don't hold your pee because you ain't gonna be able to hold it when you get older. And when you tell somebody that when they're young, it's in one ear kind of and out the other, because that's not the problem they have. You said don't hold your pee, they hold it really well. Or don't read in the dark, they can see. I had great eyesight when I was younger, not so great now. So I'm gonna tell you, I think that those things are true. I do understand and believe that young folks don't listen to you. So that's because that's what young folks do. I did it, so why shouldn't they? So that's how I look at it. PGH Big Dog is in the building. What's popping, King? So yeah, so I ate yesterday, but like I said, I had drank a lot of water, and that was my justification. But I ate some eggs. Now some people could call that a meat, but it's technically not. But it I ain't mad at nobody who classifies it like that. I had potatoes, I had mozzarella sticks, and I didn't eat none of these things at the same time. Now normally what I do is I drink my juice and I eat a salad. That's all I do every day. And I have been doing for the last 2 weeks. But yesterday I did that, and I'm gonna tell you, just doing that kind of threw me off probably today, because I didn't want no salad today and I didn't want no juice today. And when I'm talking about the juice I make, and I drank sodas yesterday a little bit. And you know what? My stomach is paying for it, because I'm sitting here right now hurting with bubble guts. And but you know what? When you fall off, just get back on the horse and start again. So that's what I'm trying to do today. So today sucked, but by tomorrow should be great. I should be back on target, back in the saddle again. PGA said Wilder equal heavyweight boxing is trash without the squad. Damn right. Trash without the bomb squad. So I've been watching what they're trying to do with these heavyweights lately, and I was like, they really building up Joe Joyce, huh? Y'all see that shit? Am I the only one to see that? They really building up Joe Joyce um to be like the next big thing. Now Frank Warren wants to pair up Joyce with Deontay Wilder. I don't even like that. Like Frank Warren and Deontay Wilder name don't never need to be in the same sentence. Now, yeah, I'm gonna depart a little bit from the story and say this. That Fury trilogy that Deontay participated in took a lot out of both of the fighters. And I'm sure mentally it was something to get over, because the first and third fight, Deontay Wilder clearly won. I understand, as I always say, and I accept that that's not what the record books will show and say. But I mean, shit. And nobody has answered this question yet. Tell me one thing you can do unconscious. Don't say sleep, because sleep and unconscious kind of the same thing. But even still, if you say sleep, I'm saying tell me one thing you can do, actionable, a verb, when you sleep or unconscious. And you can't. Tell me when they do fights, when they say, okay, the fight starts, and we're going to pause the fight. Now, true enough, referees can take a timeout, but that's not pausing. Pausing and timeout ain't the same. Once the fight start, there is no pause. PGA said, "Why isn't Frank Warren on that no-fly list? He's snitching." I don't, I don't know. So yeah, I hear a lot of people asking that question lately, like who's supposed to be on the fly list, no-fly list, and stuff. I wasn't actually, to be honest, paying attention to the list that they might have came up with because I heard people ask about Bob Arum too. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I didn't know that it got that dangerous. The whole situation with the Michael Canahan story. I see people trying to link Bud into it. Y'all need to stop that. Y'all need to stop. Y'all need to stop. Y'all need to stop. Cause that's just rumors. That's just rumors. And I said I had put out when that story first broke, I had actually put out PGH that a lot of the top promoters and people in the boxing community, they have dealings with Daniel Canahan, and that one of them was Bob Arum. So everybody in Bob Arum's stable inadvertently was linked to this man some kind of way because Bob was. But when Bob dropped him like a wet food stamp, then what do we say? The guy is not coming off like some nefarious thing in the boxing community, other than the fact that he might got some gangster ways. We don't know, but for most part, a lot of people won't just Bob Arum dealing with him. Eddie Hearn, other folks were dealing with him too. In fact, I still think some of them still deal with him. But if you worked under Bob, well, you know how Bob run this shit like a plantation. You work for Bob, then you are all inadvertently linked to this dude. But when the government came out and gave their warning shot across the bow, hey, if you have any dealings with Daniel Canahan, you need to sever those ties now, or you're gonna be caught up in the mix of everything we got to do with this man. Bob dropped him like a hot potato, verbally out loud. I don't know how. First of all, if you had a contract with him, with Daniel Canahan, what the government gave you a reprieve as to if you dropped his contract that y'all might have had, or you didn't pay him, or whatever the case may be, you got a reprieve because there was no recourse that Daniel Canahan could go to rectify the situation. I mean, what could he say? As long as you ain't owe him no money. If you owed him money, I'm sure you gave him his money. But as long as you ain't owed him no money, the government wouldn't care either way. Then you say, hey, look, I can't mess with you. My government said we can't be messing with each other, so the contract over. What could Daniel Canahan do about that? Nothing. He can't say, yeah, okay, I know your government said it, but secretly, you still got. He can't do that. Shit. He can't do that. Because the minute he do that, he really gonna give the United States government fodder for really, trying to chase him down. He don't want no smoke. He like, look, I'm over here doing me. I'll leave y'all alone. Just leave me alone. You know what I'm saying? He don't want the smoke. The folks don't want the smoke. I think boxing is something, is a hobby of his or something that he really likes. I don't think it really got much to do with his other world that they say he's a part of. But that's neither here nor there. I can think that. We all can think that, or we cannot think that. But they look at it like since he's guilty. All right. I got choked up just now. They looking at it like since he's guilty of the other stuff, we can't trust him with anything. Everything he do is suspect. So like I said, the rest of the world in the boxing community got a reprieve. They got to get out of jail free card. If you liked your dealings with him, so sorry, so sad. If you wasn't feeling like you got the, right end of the stick, then you gotta get out of jail free card. So, but I would say Frank Warren name and Deontay Wilder name shouldn't even be in the same sentence, especially since the Tyson Fury debacle. I call it a debacle because look at what happened. Now, I feel like I don't care what Tyson did that whole 12 rounds in the first fight, he lost. He lost because he was unconscious and you don't pause a fight. And nobody can argue that for me. Nobody, I've asked that question many times, nobody can argue that. Second fight, I don't really get into it. A lot of stuff going on. And because, I do believe in Deontay Wilder, I give him the benefit of the doubt. I lean more towards him. Um, Call it bias, call it whatever. But the second fight, I just don't argue because, people can have how they see it, and I have how I see it. And certain little factors make me lean towards what Deontay said. And the water incident, spiking of the water that Deontay talked about, I really don't know how to get into that. I really don't. I would say that's one of them things that you can't really prove either way. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it's hard to even get in those discussions. So a lot of times you will hear me just not even say nothing about the second fight. If they want to say Tyson Fury won that fight fair and square, hey, I ain't gonna argue with you. Fine, you can give it to him. But there's one part, and this is a story break a little bit about when people talk about Deontay Wilder, not just this situation, but any situation. Okay, so I'm gonna say this, and I don't say this to hurt nobody feeling, make nobody feel a certain kind of way, but I'm sure that I will. But I'm sorry, it's the truth. It is, as they say, the truth. So, what I cannot stand, and I just don't like it because I see it for what it is, and it's not a genuine thing. But what I can't stand is when people have manufactured anger or being mad about things, especially when they try to pull the black card. Now, I hear a lot of people, namely brothers sometimes, will say something about, well, why did Deontay fire Mark Breland but kept the white guy or whatever? And the most assessment this is why I say I rarely talk about the second fight. The most assessment that I gave about it was, hey, Deontay's the boss, right? He has employees, right? A boss can fire an employee. I mean, it is what it is. If people who are grown don't understand or know that by now, I don't know what to tell you in your life. But just in case you never heard it before, you're hearing it from me. If you are the boss, you have employees, you can fire them at will if you want to. Deontay is not getting money from the government. So there's no prerequisites and no, like people think it's not fair and all that, he's his own company. You know what I'm saying? By him being a boxer, he hires somebody. He's not falling under governmental guidelines when it comes to hiring and firing. So that's number one. Or state or your local municipalities guidelines. He's simply a boss who hire employees. He can let them go. Like I could hire somebody to come to my house and cook and clean for me. When I'm done, I can fire them. I could say, well, you know what? I don't want to do this no more. I'm gonna have to let you go. It ain't nothing that person can say, and that's about as all assessment as I could give. Because one, we are not there with him. We are not there. We don't know what's going on from day to day, and this and another. But you had a lot of black guys. I'm just talking about us in general. I'm sure it's white people too, and Latinos and whatnot. But I'm talking about us. who will pull the race card. Like, how you gonna do that, black man, like that? Blah 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 blah. All that. And see, to me, when you do stuff like that, you kind of dangerously walking into that black power shit. You know what I'm saying? Because you saying because he black, therefore nothing to happen to him. And that's just not accurate. That's not an accurate way to look at things. It's not a sound way to look at things. You can black people can work for black people and get fired or hired. I mean, that has nothing to do with your race, your complexion, or anything. But a lot of these black folks that say this shit don't even have a black house. Did that go over some of y'all head? This is why I say y'all might be mad. A lot of these black folks that be saying that shit don't even have a black house. And so I'm gonna just say when you trying to stand on your soapbox as Mr. Black Power, I'm gonna uplift the black people and the black people should in and black people and blah blah blah. And you ain't got a black wife, shut up. Shut up. I have to say that. You know why I say it? Because you come off looking hypocritical. You could be the nicest man in the world, but you messing up your brand by even doing that. Because I'm going to tell you, when you don't have a black woman in your house, black women don't listen to you. They comport themselves in accordance to, hey, I'm in mixed company, I'm out and about, I'm in these streets right now, I'm gonna be on my best behavior. But real talk, black women don't listen to black men who don't have a black wife. We don't. If you didn't know before, I'm telling you, we don't. There may be one, it's not an absolute. Everything I say is not an absolute, but it is for the most part true. I wouldn't say it if that's not how it was. Y'all know how old I am. And I've walked this earth a long time. And I'm here to tell you, I done met all kinds of black women from America and not from America. I've yet to meet one who can latch themselves on to Mr. Black Power and he don't got no black wife. I'm telling you, black women, whether they say it in front of y'all men or not, we don't listen to black men who don't have a black wife. We just don't. Whatever you say is pretty much in one ear and out the other. Now, there's a way to talk to us. You can be a black person that's married to somebody that's not black or with somebody that's not black, and you can get our ear. It's about your delivery at that point, how you deliver your message, because you can very well be that person and really do try to uplift your people and help your people. But there's ways to do that. But you have foregone the privilege of being Mr. Black Power. That you cannot do. So, for instance, let me give you an example. Financial stability is a problem amongst everybody, all of us, but especially black people, because this is a real issue. And a lot of times, a lot of young black folks don't understand how to gain financial stability and how to prioritize different this, that, and the other. Now, if you want to change that in the black community, you could do that. You could do that without being Mr. Black Power. You can do that by volunteering at the local help center or, whatever they call that center, somewhere where people go and get help learning to use a computer or sending an email, whatever, library or whatever. You can go right into a black community and volunteer. And therefore, the people that you're going to help are pretty much going to be black. And you might make a difference. But the minute you start pulling the black card, Nolly, you come off like a hypocrite and it sound like a dick swinging contest. That's what it sound like to me. Now, I'll put it in colorful words. What it sound like to me, somebody else might say it differently, but that's what it sound like. It ceased to be about you. Ceased to be about the actual issue of the people, but then it's really all about you. Because, see, you still that black man, and you want relevance, and you want to be the HNIC. You want to be the alpha dude, and you using that, like, because you're a black man, that's how everybody should look at you. No. You forfeit the right once you once you marry something else. And then the heart wants what the heart wants. And full disclosure, I have dated outside my race. I don't have a problem with that. The heart wants what it wants, and I believe in that wholeheartedly. I really do. But just like anything in the world, there's things you can say and do in your life, choices you make, i.e., that will exclude you or include you in other things that you want to do. Period. The job I had in the Navy, you couldn't have an arrest warrant. I mean, arrest or warrant, arrest warrant, or just an arrest or tickets. A lot of tickets, whether they speeding or whatever. Couldn't have any of that and getting the job that I was in. Hey, now, but that don't mean you don't know how to do the job I was doing. That don't mean that if you got there, you will run circles all around everybody who's there. It just means they wouldn't let you in. That was, that was one of their requirements that you cannot have before they let you have the job that I had. And it was good to have the job that I had. They gave bonuses. They didn't get bonuses throughout the Navy. They gave me a bonus all the time, nice ass bonuses. But if I'd have had a bunch of tickets, like I'm talking parking tickets, speeding tickets, stuff like that. If I'd have got arrested for stealing when I was 14 or 15 or something, or damn sure after 18, I couldn't have that job. We understand that in life, that distinct choices you're going to make that's going to follow you forever and exclude you out of some things. Well, not picking a black spouse is one of them. I know people don't want to hear it, but that is what it is. It don't mean that you're just a terrible person and you can't help and whatever. You just don't get to be that type of help. Why? And it's really fitting. Why? Because if you're a man and you marry or you with somebody that's not black, none of the black women gonna listen to you at all. So I don't know who you talk to. You're gonna be talking to insecure black men because secure black men, they won't listen to you either. So your target audience ain't listening to you. If that's not motivation to not do that type shit, then how about this? Try this one on for size. You do sound hypocritical, and it's like a dick swinging contest, and everything you sound like is a self-serving person. That's what it is. I'm not trying to knock nobody or make somebody feel bad, but it is what it is. Super Bros X is in the building. Was popping King? He said, "Black women don't listen." Super Bros X, we listen to you, King. We listen sometimes. We stubborn as hell, though. Yeah, we stubborn. Sir Ampo says, "Salute, Miss T. Salute to you, King." I mean, y'all know, right? I mean, I would know. I'm a woman. I'm telling the truth. And I hate it. Every time I hear a dude pull that card on anything, I be like, oh my God. Damn. I just be shaking my head. But hear me now. If you don't have a black wife, you ain't building your family with a black woman and you're a black man. Black women do not care what you're talking about. I just gotta be honest. For the most part, you might find a trinket or two who do. You might say, you might even feel like fuck them women because sometimes those type of men don't value women anyway. So they really don't care if none of us are listening to it. The only men that's gonna listen to what those guys say is insecure black men. Because just like if I can notice it and say, wait a minute now, don't you think men could too? And the best thing about getting older is that you get to see the other side. When you're young, you only see your side and you only see what's right there in front of you. But as you get older, you get to see that other side because you're more patient and you looking at it in a more well-rounded, scope. But yeah, that's what I love about getting older is I see everything. I see it from the other side. I see it from the other point of view. Now, again, I'm not telling any black man don't mess with nobody but black. Make sure y'all hit that like and share and subscribe button. Not saying that at all. Not knocking the white sisters out there, the Latinos, or the other type of sisters out there that black men find themselves with. Not knocking you at all. But what I'm saying is, once you make your choice, black man, there's certain things that you really cannot be a leader in. Nobody hears you. And it's because they're going to reject the messenger straight up. They're going to reject the messenger. And it's not going to sound legit. Never. It never does. So again, getting back to the boxing thing, when we was talking about the Mark Breland, let me tell you what Mark tore his draws in a sense. I'm not even mad at Mark that much. Mark had a choice to do a lot of interviews with a lot of these YouTube content creators. Mark did not. Mark left a lot of people alone. For months and months and months, he said nothing. Then he finally, and I saw this with my own eyes. Nobody can make me unsee this. I saw it, I heard it with my own eyes and ears. He did an interview with a UK person, a black person, and they brought up the spike water thing, right? And this is what Mark said. Never did I once, and I'm paraphrasing, never did I once give him water. But I guarantee you this video to show, and I've seen those videos too. Mark gave Deontay water in the back before they walked out. And in between the rounds, he gave them water. So I was like, why would Mark say that? And I mean, Mark was emphatic. I never gave him water, but you did, Mark. So now I'm like, damn, that shit fishy. You know what I'm saying? That shit is real fishy. And then there's other things like me asking a doctor, because I actually, I'm curious that way. I try to ask a doctor, and a lot of them, they wouldn't go in depth, to be honest, full disclosure, but they kind of alluded to the fact that, yeah, that's true. But there was a doctor that came out and tried to explain, not about the fight. The doctor ain't gonna dip his toe in that murky water, but the doctor came out and said the human hand cannot put a dent in the human skull. Cannot be done. Takes an object. The human hand, in case that went over somebody's head, cannot put a dent in a human skull. That means with gloves on, especially with gloves on, without gloves, none of us can hit a human skull and put a dent in it. Can't do it. Did Deontay have a dent in his skull before the fight? No. Did he have one after? Yes. And if that ever happens where the skull is dented or bent or whatever the fuck, you have to get surgery right away, because you have to worry about infections, disease, anything. Because once you get like an infection or something, I think in the bones, just in general, it's just general talk. It's hard to come back from that shit. It's hard to survive shit like that. It's also where your white blood cells are housed and all inside your bone. I mean, it's just a dangerous thing. He had to get emergency surgery. Now, we do know that. We do know he had to get emergency surgery. We do know that he had a dent in his head. Now, people could feel like, oh, that's bullshit. What's belong? Feel that way all you want. But I will tell you, as a homework assignment, just call around and ask. Ask a registered nurse. Go up to a hospital and say, hey, let me know this. Look it up online. It's next to impossible to put a dent in a human skull. And that happened to Deontay. So again, I don't really get into fight number 2. I won't argue no points of fight number 2. If Tyson Fury won, he won. He won. The only point I would ever stand by is 1 and 3, because and y'all know what happened in 3. He didn't beat the count. So, I mean, and that's all on tape. You see these things. You see him unconscious. See he didn't beat the count. But, I did like I detoured and got into how y'all men sound when you don't when you're trying to be on your black power stick or you bringing up the race card all the time and you ain't got a black house. Don't do it, y'all. Don't do it. We like you either way. I mean, I can break bread and like a black guy and get involved with stuff he doing and everything and help him out and all that stuff, whether he got a black woman in the house or not. I don't care about that. The heart wants what the heart wants. What you cannot do with me is claim no black power dominance or anything like that. I'm not listening. You ain't got a black wife. I don't believe you. I don't believe you think that highly of the black race. I don't believe that you think that black people are beautiful. I don't. Because you didn't get a black house. You didn't build one. So I don't believe you. So I'm never hearing you when it comes to those things. So I know I went off on a tangent. If I hurt some of y'all feelings, don't have your feelings hurt. I'm trying to be sincere and honest as can. I ain't say you trash or you ain't no good. I told you I understand if you the heart wants what it wants. But and as a side note, don't ever be that person, guy or whatever, that want to tell the inconsistencies or the deficiencies of the black woman. That's why you with these other ones. Don't do that. You want that woman because that's what your heart wants, and that's good enough. That's good enough for me. That's good enough for everybody. But don't be on that. Oh, because black women, right there, you lost me. All it sound like at that point is you wish you was a slave master. You wish you had it like master. That's what you wish. That's what it sounded like to me at that point. PGA said that's why I have a big with your boy. He's proven to be a clown. Well, what you mean? I didn't get the big. Clarify, PGA. You said that's why I have a big. I don't know what you mean by big. BIG with your boy. He's proven to be a clown. Which boy? You talking about Wilder or Terrence? You know what I'm saying? So just watch that. You know what I'm saying? Because first of all, like I said, to each his own. Heart wants what the heart wants. But when I see you said big problem. Um, you said beauty shop. Beauty shop. What you mean? um, that's why it's like when I do see, no offense, when I do see guys that black men who don't have a black wife, all I do is I prepare myself for anything. That's it. I don't know what's gonna come out this person's mouth. I don't know what they gonna say. I don't know how they gonna be. I just prepare myself for anything. I normally don't have a response, but depending on what I get from being around that person will determine whether I want to go around them or not. Again, the heart wants what the heart wants, and I'm understanding and tolerant of that. But I be damned if I'm gonna tolerate some bullshit, a front row seats to some bullshit that I won't do ever. So if you want black women to listen to you, you better build a black house. Just telling you. You said beauty shop conversation. Yeah. That's why I say you got daughters, PGH. you take your wife to the beauty shop. Yeah, I'm telling y'all, and a lot of people don't believe that women get around to talk about these things. They ain't gonna say nothing in front of y'all men. They just don't. And some of y'all men, some of y'all, not all y'all, don't know how to control your emotions. You get really, women don't got time for that shit. We don't want to hear that. We don't want to have no debates and be all like we anti men because we not. But if you don't build the black house, think we gonna follow you to what? To our death? That what we be thinking. Anyway, that is beauty shop conversations. I just let y'all in on that. How about that? Now let's get back to this work. Deontay has been inactive for a while since last October, and it was due to a broken hand. Now that don't explain that. I mean, because his time has elapsed of the time that he had off for his broken hand. But the man's a grown man. He's I think he's 36 to 37. He can decide whether or not he want to come back. He has spoken and said that boxing is not done for him yet. We don't know if that don't mean we know exactly if he's coming back. But he's the two that all of them, to me, guys, them kind of nefarious guys want to use, like a Frank Warren. Like I said, Deontay Wilder and Frank Warren name shouldn't even be mentioned in the same sentence. Frank Warren manages or whatever he does with Tyson Fury, and you ain't tell me it was an all hands effort with them that cheating shit. So I wouldn't want Deontay to fall into their hand. He talking about like I'm gonna call Shelly Finkel. Like Deontay worked for you. You ain't his motherfucking master. I'm gonna just call up Shelly Finkel. Fuck you, Frank Warren. Deontay Wilder don't need you. You know, um, that little piece right there just set me off. You ain't gonna use my king. Fuck that. And before anybody be like, well, Deontay be on that Black Power, he don't. Deontay be on some some like spiritual manly man type shit. Like every time I hear him talk, it's like he be on some manly man shit. Like I'm a man, damn it. Just man principles, shit like that. Like he's speaking to y'all guys. Shit, he ain't really speaking to us. But as far as women, but only thing I can attribute to a Black Power type shit is when he said to this day, when he did that shit. That's it. And he since apologized. But outside of that, he really on some spiritual manly man type shit, which is not bad. I mean, y'all men, y'all gotta have y'all talks on that. Like, I mean, that's not bad. Some men will want to hear it. Some men think it's funny. I see the humor sometimes. But that's what he be on. Ain't nothing wrong with that. I don't look at him as no person that be trying to be on no Black Power shit at all. So I don't got a problem. But I think his wife is black or mixed black or something. But if she wasn't, the heart again wants what it wants. But he's not out there trying to be Black Power. Some people always trying to act like, black to me, what I call Black Power, always trying to use the black card like it's important is that this somebody taking something from them and we gotta do this and it's people's responsibility for your masculinity and your ego and shit. No. That's all your responsibility. For my feminism or my femininity, I don't put that in none of y'all motherfuckers' hands. That's all my responsibility. You know? PGA said, nah, Queen Wilder always on some Black Power. Hashtag my people been fighting to this day. That's why I say, PGA, I said that one sentence, I give you that. But overall, when I sit down and listen to him, I don't feel that. I honestly don't feel that. He seemed like he be talking about manly man shit. Like, he's macho, like I'm a man. Um, then he always talks spiritual stuff, like we said. My grandma told me I was anointed, and I would, that's what I swear to God, that's what most of his conversation is. I will give you that one time when he said to this day, but what do you say to somebody who is the same as you and try to field you with a question like they outside of you? And that's how I took it. He was like, what the fuck you mean? And Radio Raheem, Radio Raheem must have thought he was white for a second. And I mean, and I'm not knocking down, not bad mouth for Radio Raheem, but when you listen to that whole talk or whatever they had in context, it's almost like Radio Raheem thought he didn't think he was black. I mean, Deontay responded to him probably how I would have, like, nigga, what you talking about? You a nigga too. That's probably how I would have said it. Fuck you mean, or something like that. But overall, no. Deontay, I pick up macho vibes, like, I'm a man, I don't back down. I'm ready for whatever. I'm a king, I'm a warrior. I'm ready to fight. I'm ready to scrap that manly shit. That's all I hear. Then the other softer side of him is the spiritual shit. All right, that's it. PGA said, listen to his interview with Champside. He represents Black Power. His dad was a pastor, so of course he gonna have some spiritual words. He said his home, his name is Radio Raccoon. Hi. But I listen to Deontay a lot. I swear. Sometimes I think his calling could be to follow in his dad's footsteps and be like a pastor or something. But I can listen to pastors from any race, and that don't matter to me. If you're a Christian, you're a Christian. You say something that's worthwhile Christian wise, I'm all ears. You don't have to be a certain race or whatever, So again, I don't see, unless you specifically ask him. That's not what he tries to do. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. I think the conversation can go that way. Um, but I mean, just as any black person, I'm a black person, and so like when I'm talking, and I can be like, shit, as a black woman, I know that such. I tend to roll off in conversations kind of like that. I'm not trying to be Black Power, Miss Black Power, but I'm just saying I'm recognizing who I am and where I am. What I'm saying? I have awareness. Again, overall, I don't see that with Deontay, but if you do, that's cool. I just don't see it. Now then you got some people that's always, well, how you gonna fire a black man? Easy. The same way I hire that nigga, I'm gonna fire him. That's how I'm gonna fire him. I don't know where the fuck that come from. As if black people are so all honest brokers and this, that, and the other. Shit, we can be honest brokers. We can be bad elements. We can be all of that shit rolled up in one. I ain't getting it twisted. Like I said, go look up that interview. I doubt if they took it down. He did one interview with, and he talks softly. Mark Breeden do. He did that one interview with that UK guy. The guy's black. Straight up said, I never gave him water. And he was emphatic about it. I never gave him water. And I'll be damned, the tape show otherwise. So what's the black card for? It ain't got nothing to do with the black card. Maybe Deontay felt like he did whatever. I don't know. But then you got Frank Warren that want to use him like he the head buck in the field and shit. Fuck that shit. That's why I say, Deontay, I wouldn't even fight for the WBC. Now, if Deontay so-called is the loser, because now you got people saying Deontay lost all 3 fights. People be actually making that slip or that Freudian slip saying, oh, Deontay lost all 3 fights. And I'd be like, well, it was a draw the first one. He lost it last 2. But that's how they like to say he lost all 3 fights. I don't even respond to that when I hear people say that. I be like, okay. I be like, well, I'm saying it in my head, like, what make you say that? But that's how they want it to be. All they want to do is use him like a slave, use him as a buck. Because they know he bring the money. Tyson Fury by himself cannot bring money like Deontay Wilder by himself. Whoever Deontay fight is gonna bring the money. That ain't no guarantee with Tyson Fury. Not over here. Not over here. And now they building Joe Joyce, and I ain't knocking Joe Joyce, but they building his ass up. Because every time you turn around, when I'm reading these articles about boxing before I do the show up, like write whatever I'm gonna write up about the show, I'm telling you, everywhere Joe Joyce, Joyce this, Joyce that, Joyce this, Joyce that. I'm like, well, goddamn, when did he become the prima donna? You know what I'm saying? The boxing community is not sure if Deontay even coming back. We don't know. We have to wait on the king to speak. And he ain't never late, as far as I'm concerned. Although he said he wasn't done with boxing. Maybe that's how he felt in that moment. But in the interim, like I said, a lot of heavyweights have tried to emerge as the prima donna of the heavyweight division. And as they, I ain't gonna knock them and say they shouldn't. They should be trying to be top dog, but it's like they scrambling to get out there, get their name out there in the shiny bright lights. So I'm gonna talk about some of them. So you got Tyson Fury playing footsies with retirement. 1 minute he is, and 1 minute he not. So he's straddling in the fence. But the WBC said they taking their belt, and they never did. They were supposed to do that shit in May, and they never did. So what happened? How does one motherfucking Boinknick motherfucker have all this power? Y'all remember the Boinknicks from fucking Popeye? There's 1,000 of them. Boink, boink, Boinknick. Some of y'all too young to know this one. I know I can't be the I remember that shit. But that's what Tyson looked like. Egghead Boinknick. But 1 minute he retired, 1 minute he not. And the WBC said, wait a minute, they're not holding up their belt, They're not gonna hold up their belt when so many other people want it and you retired. Because you want to fight some UFC retired person or somebody, MMA person, and you want to walk in there with a current belt. What that got to do with the price of tea in China? The WBC had gave their marching orders and they reneged on it. Why? Would you do it for Wilder? Would you do it for any other fighter? Why the fuck y'all can't hold this man's feet to the fire? That's what I'm trying to figure out. But hey, he Tyson Fury. Boinknick. Reginald Peters is in the building. What's poppin', King? He said, hey, I just found your show. Love it. I will support and follow. I appreciate you, King. Appreciate you. Don't forget to hit the like, share, and subscribe. If you hit the subscribe button already, you ain't got to do it. You locked in, but do hit the like button. But yeah, we see what happened with that. Everybody else can get stripped. Not your boy Tyson Fury. Because even though, and I told y'all, I did a video months ago, I said them sanctioning bodies don't like him. He's not the greatest representation for them. They're not riding off into the sunset saying, yay, Tyson is holding our belts. They're not doing that. They don't like him like that. Per se, they ain't gonna come out and say it, but any white man would do for the job of humbling Deontay Wilder. And that was the task at hand. And humbling, they mean by causing him to lose. And then they had to put 100 on 10 to make him lose. Because like I said, I'll give him the second fight. But fight 1 and 3, he did not win. But, he won with help. Let me just say that. And Tyson knows that. That's why he don't want to really have to go back. He's saying he retired people because if he don't say that, they'll put him in the ring with a lot of people he might not want to fight. Tyson is not dedicated to the sport like he try to act like he is. He's but somebody that haphazardly or halfway fucking be into the sport, he's pretty good. I'll give it to him. I'll give it to him. He's a big ass dude who can move like he's a small man. I'll give that to him. Imagine you ever had your parents tell you, well, damn, dude, you ain't even try and you got B's and C's. Imagine what you'd do if you put your mind to it and gave it a real concerted effort. You know what I'm saying? You ever had your parents tell you that about anything, not just schoolwork, but anything? Or you had anybody to tell you that? That's how I look at Tyson Fury. Imagine if he put his mind to it. Wasn't so much of a lying, cheating ass bastard. Imagine. You know what I'm saying? But he on that retirement kick because he don't know what Deontay gonna do. He don't want to get back in there with Deontay. He really don't. And if I was Deontay, I wouldn't want to get back in there with him too, because they're just gonna give him the fight. What's the point? Can you imagine going through training for 8 weeks, doing all that hard shit, getting up with the roosters and shit, and working out and all this stuff, pushing your body past the limit and shit, only to have somebody who ain't did a motherfucking thing like you did to take the shit away? I mean, how would you feel? You'd be like, I can't win for losing. So that's Tyson Fury. And then next up, somehow we got Usyk, who was able to put a war on hold to come back for his rematch with AJ, where he promises that the work gonna be worse. Whatever he do to AJ is gonna be worse than the first one. Now I ain't being flippant about their war. I'm not. So shout outs to all those people. I hope cooler heads prevail on both sides. And I send prayers to people on both sides. And I'm not being flippant about that war, but he is at war. And that's how big the pool that sanctioning bodies have, that they can go to a country who had set the marker of between 18 and 60. You got to get up in this war now. 60, my nigga. If you going over 35 or something, you telling folks they got to be in the war and they in their late 30s or 40s. I mean, you already coming off sounding desperate. And they said it's 60. But you know, we're gonna pause everything as far as the war concerned when it comes to Usyk and some of these other fighters and let them go off and be great. Really? Damn, what an influence boxing has on the money of it all. I wonder what had to be given to Puff Puff give in that situation. And I ain't trying to knock Usyk, because we do, all of us, even me, want to know what's gonna happen with this rematch. Because I sat here and said, how long can they hold them belts in a holding pattern until this war? You can't say we're gonna wait till the war over. We don't know, the war could go 10 years. We don't know that. Reginald Peters said, I would like to see Wilder fight again, only if Usley or AJ. Oh, Usyk. I think he meant Usyk. Usyk or AJ. If not, it's no reason to come back. He got cash and he going to the Hall of Fame. Exactly. Laugh out loud, just like and follow. Cool. Yeah. So Usyk, I guess shout outs to him. And Usyk sound like a decent guy. There's nothing, Mr. Usyk out there. I ain't knocking you, player. You sound like a decent guy. When the shit hit the fan, we see where your heart was. We see how you get there. You're a man of all men. You know what I'm saying? You did yourself proud. You didn't run from adversity. You ran to it. So I ain't knocking you. But I'm looking at overall. Boxing must be damn good. But for them to be like, yo, even though we got a war for our lives, for our country, you can take a break and go box. But Usyk is, like I said, now that I got, and I'm just putting words in his mouth, so y'all take it with a grain of salt. But this kind of how he sound. Now that I got some wartime effort on my sleeve, now that I've been in the war, dodging bullets and shit, and piecing and busting holes in motherfuckers. All this ass whooping AJ you gonna get is gonna be a whole lot worse than the first one. Hope you're ready. Hope you're hungry. In my Kelberg voice. That's what Usyk is saying. Then you got AJ claiming he gonna take it to another level. Even switching trainers in mid-career to Robert Garcia. Now, first of all, some people act like Robert Garcia is the best all trainers, or one of the best. I personally, nothing against you, Robert. I don't see that. I really don't see that with your stable. I'm not. That's not clicking with me. But what I do see, and I don't consider it like bad, because sometimes people of different races just can't mingle together or mesh together. They just don't. We already know how Mikey Garcia brother feel, who he is. One of the darkest Mexicans who puts on his paperwork that he white. There's all kinds of problems with that. When we was even teasing him, calling him Whitey Garcia, and I'm sure Mikey Garcia is a good dude, but still though, dude, one thing you can never be confused as, your whole family for that matter, as white. Nobody will ever look at you and think white man. He another one to probably build his house with somebody other than Mexican or other than Latino. It ain't just black people that got this problem. But he the proud Mexican. I don't do I'm gonna tell y'all something. That is not a woman problem. Women do date outside their race and marry outside their race, but that black power or Mexican power shit or whatever, white power or whatever, we don't do that shit. We do not do that, man. There's all kinds of reasons why you can say women don't do that, because you'll say the household is who the man is. Okay, I'll grant you that. But the culture and the nurturing stems from the woman all day, every day. Because that's the one who mostly put the time in, day out, in real meticulous details. Like, so it's both. You know what I'm saying? But Mikey Garcia thinks he's a white man. Where he get that from? He got the same mom and daddy that Robert Garcia got. So if he thinks it, I'm inclined to think that Robert thinks it. That's an issue. That's a shame issue. That's a mental fucking issue in that family to me. But just going by boxing, who has Robert Garcia took to the who made the creme de la creme? Who? He has a lot of great fighters. And Mikey Garcia is a great fighter, and I know he just retired. Do I think he going to the Hall of Fame? Maybe somewhere down the line in the future. Not first ballot, hell to the no. But somewhere down the line, he'll go. In case anybody don't know, for those who looking at me on Facebook or anybody who might not know, what people be meaning when they say first ballot, that means when you retire, you get to after 5 years, then you can get nominated or picked to go into the Hall of Fame, not a year before. You know what I'm saying? So when they say first ballot, meaning 5 years to the day after your retirement, are you gonna be picked to go into the Hall of Fame? That's what they mean. And so, Mikey Garcia, I don't think so. I don't think so. But Robert Garcia, you gotta tell me the creme de la creme fighter that he took to the top. I'll give y'all a second. Somebody chime in through the chat and let a sister know. But maybe I just don't know what the hell I'm talking about. And it's possible. I ain't even trying to be funny. Maybe I'm forgetting somebody. Y'all let me know. Giving y'all a second. Let me know. My Donna is good. Super Bros X. I'm glad you chat. He said my Donna. Super Bros. My Donna, what was his creme de la creme? He got beat by Mayweather. He got beat, I think, by Amir Khan. I think he got beat by who's the other person that beat him? Lamont Peters. Did Lamont beat him? He got beat by a couple of people. He was a record fighter. He took them $3 million paydays and went back, probably flipped them shits in Argentina, living like a king. For every $1 US, probably like $20 their money. Who knows? That's a guess, y'all. Not being flippant, but I know our dollar is way stronger than theirs. So, you know, in fact, I love it when a country like that. The euro broke all that shit up. Real story. I lived in Spain when it was pesetas. That's their money, Spanish money. And I can tell you there were days the money changes, the rate of the money changes from day to day, sometimes week to week, whatever. So on average, for every dollar the US had, if you match it up to theirs, it was like $1.98 their money. That's a good thing. Talking about a come up. So for every $1 was like $2 their money. That's pretty much what I'm saying. So that $3 million that Maidana got and went back to Argentina, which I'm sure the US dollar stands or stacks up against Argentinian money, kind of like that. Again, you're talking about money, so the rate changes from day to day sometimes. Sometimes it's the same from day to day, but most time it can change from day to day. He living like a king, right? I lived in Spain that first time. Whew. If I needed $500 Spanish money, I just had to give the cash cage $250. You see what I'm saying? But when the military paid me, because they'll pay you to like for your rent. If the guy say your rent is 5 mil, I think it's at 5 mil. Then that means or 50 mil. That means $500, right? Their money, their money. So the military sees that on your contract, and they pay you $500 as if it was dollar to dollar. So you see what I'm saying? So when I go to go pay the rent, they're 500. I might have to get 250. I might have to get 200. It depends on the rate of their dollar that day. Then I came back the second time in the first year, and they were still on pesetas, loving every minute of it because it's a come up. You get more bang for your buck. But then within a year, and I mean within a year, they switched to euros. Spain was one of the first people to drop the euros. And I remember I was there the day that shit happened. And the euro was almost matching United States dollars, dollar for dollar. No more come up. So I ain't like them switching, euro just for that purpose only, but I guess that's what they needed to do. But and then England, remember, was going to switch. Then they changed their mind at the last minute, kind of disrupting their stance or position in the European Union. I know some of that went over some of y'all head, but hey, look up on it. That was a weird time because, like I said, I was there when this shit happened. In fact, I still got Peseta money here in my house. And I'm always keep it. I mean, for a keepsake, it might be worth something because I'm sure by now all pesetas and their coins have been gotten rid of. But I still got some. Sure do. I got money from a lot of European countries that's now on the euro. So I don't know what that means, but it might be worth something, especially if you find coinage or any kind of money that was made that got a mistake on it. Oh my God, it's worth so much money. You find a coin that got a mistake on it, it's gonna be worth something. It's gonna be worth something to them. Maybe not to the average American, but like I said, I kept them coins, and I'm going to keep them coins for years to come. When I'm like, maybe I give it to my daughter, and she'll see how important they are, and she'll give it to her grandkids. I'm telling you, it's gonna be worth something one day, because I'm sure all of that money is gone. Just like I still got old school food stamps. Wonder how much they worth. But then we move from AJ and what he promised, how he somehow gonna get better with Robert Garcia. Super Pros X, I have to disagree with Madonna. Madonna has, if he was a champion, I'm not even sure. I'm not even sure, to be honest. Then you got Ruiz and Ortiz. They about to have a pay per view. Now y'all know that pay per view is not warranted. That could be a free fight, but I guess or they don't want to pay those guys. That would have said. That's what that message says to me. When you put them on pay per view, when they would do better just to be on free TV, it tells me you don't want to pay them at all. In order for them to get somewhat of a decent paycheck, you got to put them on pay per view. I highly doubt that either one of them break a million. I don't know. Ruiz became a millionaire by fighting AJ and winning. He doubled up on his money when he fought the rematch, which turned out to be a front row seat to some bullshit. But nevertheless, Ruiz, he got his come up. But I always thought like once you made money, it's hard really to go backwards. You know, you can't be paying nobody $5-10 million and then turn around and go back and paying them 200,000. That's just crazy. But I guess that can happen. You know what I'm saying? But they're not pay per view stars, not by a long shot. We know that Ortiz did a match with Martin, and that was pay per view. It was a funny fight, you know, especially how Ortiz knocked him out. But Ortiz, he aged. But what he showed is that power is the last thing to lead because he caught him. But we can say that about Triple G too, and that's why I know that Canelo gonna watch him because unless Triple G catch him, you know. But Canelo might get washed, and I'm gonna tell y'all why. Because Canelo is in his feelings, and he been in his feelings. He don't like nobody calling him a cheater, a weight bully, and stuff that just actually true about him, cherry picker, whatever. Sometimes, like I said, if he ain't a cherry picker, he's very strategic in his choices. And even Ruiz switched trainers and Eddie Renuso. Remember that? Him, Ryan, and what's the other guy? Frank Sanchez. And pretty much all of them saying the same thing. Eddie don't got nobody, no time for nobody but Canelo. And it serves them right. The lack of commitment on Eddie Renuso's part. We don't even know how old Ortiz is. And you got Frank Sanchez, another one, like I said, who jumped the ship from Reynoso for the same thing, probably claiming uh he ready for the big dogs, and he feels he is a big dog right now, and the big dog he reaching for is Joyce. I mean, they really on the hype Joyce train, and listen, Joyce, I ain't knocking him. I ain't mad at him. I mean, he gonna be in this boxing career. He gonna want to be uplifted and elevated and stuff. But even Joyce is calling out Wilder. It ain't just Frank Warren, it's Joyce too. Because they want that payday, payday. That's what it's about. Super Brozak said he got it from Mayweather. Of course. But somehow Joyce has crept his ass, into the limelight. But like I said, that's how he's supposed to. And how he do it? By being an active fighter and winning. I gotta say, that's what he doing. But who has he fought? Who has he fought? Let's look. Let's look at who he fought. And look, let's go all the way down here. Who is Ian Lewison? Rudolph. Johnny Palmer. Leroy. Ivica? I don't even know who that is. Iego? Who is these people? Right here with Joe Hanks. He fought for the vacant WBA Continental Heavyweight title. Continental? Is that the regular title? Because you remember all these belts had all these million belts and shit. We don't even know which one is real and which one is fake. Romain Stefan, we know who he is. That's the one that Wilder beat. The first, now Wilder fought him twice and outboxed his ass the first time. Won't no knockout. But Romain Stefan is a credible opponent. And it was for the vacant World Boxing Association Gold World Heavyweight title. Come on, bro. Just the way the sanctioning bodies can get money. Alexander Ustinov. Who is that? Brian Jennings. We know who that is. Brian Jennings. But Brian Jennings is not the creme de la creme. Neither was Romain Stefan. Romain Stefan is so far about the closest to the creme de la creme. Closest only counting horseshoes. Michael Walisch. And then Daniel Dubois, we know who he is. He the same thing as Joyce. trying to make the come up. I ain't mad at him, but look at this. World Boxing, the WBC Silver, the WBO International, the EBU, whatever that is, European Heavyweight, the Commonwealth British Empire Heavyweight, the BBB British Heavy title. So I mean, what the fuck? What does any of that shit mean to us? Okay, so you got three people so far: Brian Jennings, Romain Stefan, and Daniel Dubois. Carlos Takam, we hear him. Who is he? But the person that keep getting his ass whipped. And Christian Hammer. And for a long time, I thought Christian Hammer was that girl that fought Clarissa Shields. Wasn't her name Christian Hammer too? That's his record, yo. I ain't trying to knock him. Not one time did you hear me call anybody that he fought a tomato can or anything like that. But I ain't, because I don't like to talk about people like that. You hats off to you. You getting in that ring. I got much respect for everybody, the B level fighters, the C level fighters, because I guarantee you this: they doing something that none of us can. I guarantee you, we'll look like SNR fighters compared to them. Getting in the ring with them. But who he fought? But Frank Warren, they even been entertaining the fact of Wilder and him. He's a big guy, and please don't take this the wrong way. This mug, Joe Joyce, is not even on the level of the next person I'm going to talk about. But if there's a close overlap or imitation that you say that's being done, it's close enough. And that's Big George Foreman. Every time I look at Joe Joyce, I think of Big George Foreman. I don't think he a better boxer than George Foreman, but he big and cumbersome like George. And he's slow. Because you know what Ali used to call George? Come on, mommy. Remember, Ali used to throw the punches like he the mummy. That's what I think of Joe Joyce. And I think Deontay at his regular size, not beefed all up, would knock some sense into Joe Joyce. But hey, that's what I think. He would knock him on his ass. But Joe Joyce, this is his career that he chose. And he's the same age as Deontay. 14 fights. He's about the same age as Deontay. So if Deontay old and, old man in the ring, then so is Joe Joyce. But only 14 fights. Where you been, Joe? Reginald Peters said AJ just cashing out. He's not winning. I think Fury stayed retired. I'm not sure. Who the next great heavyweight champion if Wilder don't fight again? That's a good question. I'm not impressed by Frank Sanchez. I'm not even impressed by that other guy, the American Anderson, I think his name. I'm not that impressed. I'm not displeased with Anderson, but I'm just not that impressed yet. I don't know who, but as far as flair and the optics of it all, Anderson is probably gonna be the next one that they hype up. But he'll be the next one. But I hear there's some out there, they just not getting opportunities. I'm like, man, the heavyweight division is kind of trash. It is kind of trash. The only thing you can get happy about it is them going for the belts. That's it. But them is the problem. AJ got the reins now with Usyk. Usyk really got the reins. Tyson Fury just want to fight who he want to fight. This is why he said he retired. But why did that? What that got to do with the price of tea in China? As far as the WBC doing what they said they're gonna do, why they can't hold this man accountable? I couldn't tell you. Reginald Peters said Joyce is nice body too for Wilder to KO easy. Yeah, I don't know. Joyce's next fight is September 24th. I give it to him. He stay active. And he is the WBO mandatory for Usyk, so y'all keep that in mind. That's what he is. He gonna get the opportunity to fight Usyk before anybody else? No, but because Usyk is gonna fight AJ in the rematch, and I think they got their date set. What was it, August 20th, something like that? And then after that fight, if Usyk proved to win again, then I guarantee you Tyson be like, all right, Usyk, we ready. Maybe Tyson's scared of Usyk. I don't know. I doubt it. I doubt it. But you got a boxer and a boxer. And the bad thing about that is, what Tyson Fury had leverage over Deontay is not a traditional boxer. He's not a complete boxer. And it's Deontay country over here, and I can say that. He's not a complete boxer. So when he get in there with somebody who can move, and most heavyweights can't move, but Tyson Fury can, that's his leverage. That's his greatness. Um, he can move like a smaller guy. So a boxer would tire you the fuck out. To me, it's dangerous to get in there with a complete boxer because a boxer can have you doing so much things that make you seem like two left feet. And I'm telling y'all, in boxing, it's all about your feet and your legs. And if those things are lacking, you might as well, I don't even know why the fuck you get in the ring in the first place. So that's what a boxer can do to a person who's not quite a boxer. But when you talking Tyson Fury and Usyk, you talking about two boxers. So Tyson Fury can ill afford to come in there heavy as a bitch. He could ill afford to do that. And that's what he like to do. That's the path of least resistance. Because even though he gets bigger or he is big, naturally has that talent to move around like he a little guy. That's his claim to fame. But what you gonna do when when the shorter guy can move just like you, or if not better? Yeah, you got to punch down, which is gonna require some skills. We just saw that when somebody was tall and they had to learn how to punch down and it didn't work for them. I forgot what fight that was, but anywho, we'll see. We'll see. But I will say, if Deontay Wilder listening, don't play that game. Don't play that game, please. You are not their buck. Fuck Frank Warren. So, fight for another belt. Now, I did hear on Coach Malachi's show, he was talking to somebody. I think Kid Austin's dad and them, and Kid Austin's dad dropped a little nugget saying that, hey, for just telling y'all fighters, if you go for that WBA belt, you're gonna be kind of trapped and stuck because the other sanctioning bodies really don't work with them, which makes me understand more because I had reported weeks before that the IBF actually threw an olive branch out there and invited the WBA to their conference. And I was like, well, what's the big deal about that? But they was writing about it like it was a big deal. So I reported on it. But, now I see what the big deal. You're trying to mend fences or, trying to send the olive branch out there. If you get the WBA, according to this guy, you're going to be stuck. You ain't going to probably get ranked in the other sanctioning bodies. You're going to be hard pressed. All you're going to ever be able to do is WBA shit. And that's not what you want if you're trying to be unified, if you're trying to be undisputed. And hey, that's what you should be trying to do if you're a boxer, is go to the Super Bowl, right? So I don't know. We shall see. I just don't want Deontay fall victim or just fall into that trap. Do what you want to do. It's all about grabbing the money now since they had to go out their way to tarnish your fucking record on purpose. It's all about the money. That's how I feel. Think about it. If Deontay would have been awarded his win, the first Fury fight, we wouldn't even be right here. We wouldn't even be right here. And then think about the things they say. He got to humble himself. Humble himself for what? I honestly take my hat out to Deontay because mentally, I don't think I could get over somebody stealing something from me. I just couldn't. That first fight was stolen from him, and that third fight was too. Y'all hit that like button. But anywho, moving on. I told y'all that I will update y'all and stuff. Anything that I told you I'm gonna steadily look at or be watching out. And I kind of fell back on the WBC clean boxing program. You know what I think about that bullshit right now. I know what I think about it. I don't think it's on the up and up. I really don't. But I told you I will update you, so here's the update. As you see the date, 5th July. That's what? Let me see. Yep, it's today. So this is what they had to say. This is all they got. The WBC is extremely proud of the work that the clean boxing program is doing around the world. Dr. Margaret Goodman has dedicated with passion many years of her life to try to make boxing safer, and the clean boxing program is a reality because of the great work that VADA performs day after day. We would like to also praise the promoters who have safety as a priority, as many fights are contracted by them to have out of competition random testing at high financial costs. Yeah, the WBC doesn't have that, just so y'all know. They don't have random out of competition testing. So I don't even know why this sentence is in this thing, but that ain't nothing that they have. But with the determination to safeguard integrity of the sport and most importantly, the safety of our fighters. At the WBC, we have always reported everything related to the clean boxing program. And on this occasion, we want to notify that during the months of May and June, a total of 80 random tests were carried out at this point. We also want to thank all boxers for their entire disposition and for being exemplary athletes who testify with honesty and love for the sport. That's their update. No list though. No list. 80 people. You know, if you go to Capson G Full page, he gonna break down how all that stuff works. And I told y'all when they enter it, there's a start date and an end date. And every time it's an end date, when before that person comes up on the next fight, they have to re-enter the shit again. Now maybe when they enter, maybe the WBC trying to say now you only have to enter into it once every year and a half, and once you enter and you're in it, right? But as I told y'all before, the Ugas fight with Errol Spence, Errol, by knowledge, he didn't take it. And why I say that? Because he wasn't on the list. And the WBC said that they would put out a list. They said they put out a list every month. Or often. When the last list you saw? March. I've been looking. Because when I ain't see it in March and I was talking about it, you know what a lot of people said in the chat? Hey, give it time, Mr. T, and he might be on the next one. No, he wasn't. Ugas was on it. What you want me to think? What you want me to think? Your opponent is on it, but you not. What am I supposed to think? What conclusion am I to draw from that? Honestly. So now we got the fight pending with Bud. And shit, if you did that with Ugas, who's to say you ain't gonna do that elsewhere? It matters, y'all. It matters because it goes to the integrity of the whole program itself. Their credibility is shot. Because if you think about it, when you with the WBC, even if you're in line to be fighting for the WBC, even if you're in the rankings, you can be ranked number 6, nowhere near taking a title shot. If you're ranked number 6 in the WBC, you are supposed to, by their guidelines, be a part of the clean boxing program. That means you should be taking part in it. Not to mention if you have the belt your damn self, which Errol Spence does. And then I'm supposed to believe that It's either a coincidence or some good logical explanation why you didn't make the list. Tyson Fury was on the list 3 times before his fight. You said is Canelo on it? He's supposed to be. There's another guy who's undisputed. That means he got all the belts. That means he got WBC belt. He's supposed to be on it, right? I can't remember if Canelo was on that list. I showed y'all that list several times. I showed you guys the list in March. We didn't get a list in April because I looked. We didn't get a list in May. I looked. We didn't get a list in June. I looked. Now we in July. Jay Gibson said fire. Now look, this is the WBC. Right? This is the WBC. Oh, damn. What did I just do? I don't know what I just did. Hold up. Let me go here. Well, I don't know how I did this. But before I had options, let me see. I had options. You know, you can hit these things. Even if you hit mail. If you hit mail. Oh, well, my computer don't want to work right now. I don't know what's going on. But anywho, I had hit those little tabs at the top. Because even if you pull up this page in your Google, what tab do you hit that take you to the list? You can't, I mean, it's like Mission Impossible. It's not what they said they was going to do. Now it's like, you know what I feel about it? It made me think of this old commercial. Let me play it for y'all.
It certainly is a
it's not my
bun.
content.
It's a very big bun. Big fluffy bun. It's a
not
very
my
big
content,
fluffy
YouTube.
bun.
Where's the beef? Some hamburger places give you a lot less beef on a lot of bun. Where's the beef? At Wendy's, we serve a hamburger we nicely call a single. And Wendy's single has more beef than the Whopper or Big Mac. At Wendy's, you get more beef and less bun. Hey, where's the beef? I don't think there's anybody back there. You want something better.
Now, that was a funny ass commercial in that day. All of y'all who was born after 1984, y'all probably don't get it. But that was some funny shit. That commercial was as popular as the commercial that they got with Flo with the progressive commercials. You see how those commercials take off on a story of his own. That was pretty much one of the first commercials that I had seen that had that kind of takeoff. You know what I'm saying? Like, there was so many commercials of where's to be. And her whole point is, you know, all these hamburger places, you got Wendy's, McDonald's, Burger King, and whatever other Whataburger, and just other places, but it's more bun than it is beef. that was Wendy's selling point. Like, shit, we're gonna give you some beef on this burger. You know, then you had the old lady like, where's the beef? You know, that shit was funny. I guess you had to be there. You know, nowadays it might not seem as funny, but it was funny as hell back then that they just made a new one and a new one and a new one. But that's how I feel about this WBC clean boxing program. Where's the list? Where's the list? I don't think nobody's back there. I think they giving us a front row seat to some bullshit. You know, I think they trying to pull the wool over our eyes. Where is the list? You know what I'm saying? But that's the update. That was as of today. That's all they got to say. And just so we clear, they don't do no random out of competition motherfucking testing. They don't do it. That would cost money. If they did, then they would be testing people during their training camp or before their training camp. And they don't do that shit either. And I'm telling you, you should raise your eyebrows when any fighter, not alone Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford fight coming up. That shit can't be mentioned until the A side decides to mention it, which would be Errol Spence. It could be how Floyd said it's going to be. When Floyd said, Fight Hype will be the first to know. But it definitely could be Errol Spence mentioning. The day Errol Spence mentioned the fight that is going down will be the day that that random blood and urine and all that stuff can start. But what they normally do, what the WBC has been doing, because they are not a nonprofit, so they need to stop masquerading as one. Everything is about profit for them. Everything is about the bottom line for them. The nonprofit shit is just so they don't have to pay Uncle Sam no money, no taxes. But anywho, the day that they mention it, then that's the day that that shit can start. So you have to be prepared and strategic with that, especially if you're doing some extracurricular sipping, if you know what I mean. But yeah, what WBC do is they like to do the test after the fact, which will not yield any results because by that time the person would have cycled off. That was, to me, in my opinion, the whole reason why Canelo tried to play pussy with the audience, with the fans, when he was trying to act like, well, maybe I'll fight Bivol. Remember when he was talking, maybe I'll fight Bivol or somebody else uh all the way up to September. Then he said, "Nah, I'm gonna fight Caleb Plant." He knew all along he was gonna take that fight with Caleb Plant. He just needed to cycle off, in my opinion. I can't confirm or deny, but in my opinion, plus he got the authority granted to him to just have trace amounts of that shit in his system. Remember, so that's what I'm talking about. WBC full of shit, and I know the more I say it, the more anybody say it. And I've been saying it. Captain G been saying it. I don't know who else been on their neck about it, but you know, to me, all that was a tad amount to some damage control. That's all that was. So, anywho, I'm gonna move on. I still don't see a list. WBC, you need to retro some lists. Then you need to do that. You can't come off acting like you're an honest broker and then turn out to be no honest broker. So come on. Come on. Now, we ain't stupid. We got eyes and ears too. We got good reading comprehension. All of us do. So you can't be out here acting like you're an honest broker when you're not. Okay. So happened to my thing. Acting the fool. Okay. All right, there we go. Anywho, let's move on. So everybody talking about this Josh Taylor too. What did I put? Up there? Um, everybody urgent. That's what it is. I don't know. That didn't look like a U. Everybody urging Josh Taylor to do the rematch with Catterall. We was urging then. You know what I'm saying? That's why it's not making a lot of news. There's a lot of articles out there on it, but a lot of people not picking it to talk about it. I did because I did a video on it too back then. We was urging then. I've never seen the responses that I was seeing after their fight. Shit, the UK was like shit. They went so far as to go to the police on them motherfuckers, and the police actually opened an investigation. That shit was on their which we'll call Congress floor. People were so furious. I mean, whether he was in Scotland or wherever they did that fight, Scotland, Ireland, I can't remember. And I'm sorry if I don't, but I can't remember. I think it was Scotland. Josh Taylor's hometown or whatever. Even those folks was like, what the fuck? He was robbed. Catterall was robbed. And again, a lot of people be thinking some of us YouTube content creators is all about the race and we all about our own kind. I was pissed beyond the level of festivity. And neither one of them is in my race. Because I told y'all, I feel like if you're going to pick this career, this is not something you play, you do. And you're going to go through all that hard work and then to get robbed, I'm pissed for you. I'm as pissed off at that robbery as I am Deontay's robbery in his first fight with Tyson Fury. That's how pissed I was. Because I was like, come on, bro. Damn. You know, so they do white people the same too. Some white people catch it too. You know what I'm saying? Catterall got robbed and I hated it for him. I hated that for him. I wanted to cry. You know what I'm saying? But at this point, if I was Catterall, I would say nope. Not just no. Hell the fuck no. You know why? You know why I would be like that? Nah, I don't want that rematch. Because I'm saying to myself, what is the point now for it? What is the point? Is it to help or do a solid for Catterall? Or is it for Taylor to save face? Which one is it? And I feel like it's more so for Taylor to save face. Remember, I said way back then that the boxing world was not happy with Taylor, even the sanctioning bodies. And that was true. They wasn't. I don't know who cooked the books for him or did the cooking for him, but somebody cooked that shit. Because Catterall won that fight. And everybody clearly saw that shit. And like I said, the links that what England went to or the UK went to rectify the situation, I've never seen in boxing before. Folks was pleading then for Josh to do the right thing, but he couldn't be bothered. That's how big his ego is. He's a grimy, cheating ass fighter too. And you know, I understand elbows in a fight because you know it's gonna get rough and rugged in that fight when these dudes match up. But I don't understand you constantly hitting somebody in the back of the head when you know what that'll do. At that point, you start looking suspect to me because I'll be like, yo, do you have a regard for this man's life? Do you care if he's a father and he want to be in his right mind while he's raising his kids? I mean, do you care about that? Why you hitting him in the back of the head and shit? I don't like Josh Taylor. Fuck Josh Taylor. Now he on some sort of honest broker tour. You know why he is not an honest broker, and this is why I say it was a front row seat to some bullshit. What they trying to do right now, because Josh Taylor has dropped 2 of his belts recently, and like the WBC claims that, or they trying to build the narrative that you know him dropping the WBC made an easier pathway for him and Catterall to do the rematch. Like, sure, yeah, Catterall has been dreaming of doing a fight with Josh Taylor, a do-over where he's just gonna win a belt maybe or 2, you know, like a unified champ rather than be undisputed. Yeah, because that's his dream. He beat an undisputed person. He should have been undisputed, but he's dreaming of fighting them for lesser belts. Yeah, that's the way to do it. No, Josh Taylor, you don't get to save face in this one. I don't see how he can save face. That's crazy to me. That's crazy. So no. I'll be out on the lookout for that. Like, that's crazy to me. If I was Jack Catterall, I would not take the fight. Fuck him. They did what they wanted to do. Let him stand 10 toes down in all his bullshit. And all his bourgeois bullshit. Because that's what it is. Y'all robbed that man and you ain't had the fortitude to fucking rectify. I mean, I understand if they gave it to you, then you could look at it like, ooh, thought I wasn't a better man this night, but in all fairness, I got to give him a second go at it. And make the fight. Make it a month or 2 later. Or whatever time permits. But no, he couldn't be bothered. You know, and look at his punk ass. He didn't want to drop them belts and move up because he felt like people think he could have made a beeline to Terrence Crawford. He couldn't. He wasn't a super champion, y'all. He couldn't have made no beeline to Bud Crawford. Now people be like, oh, you got to defend your title 5 times to become a super champion of the WBO. I thought it was 10. And Josh didn't have those requirements under his belt. So no, he could have made it to top of the line, but he couldn't have beelined it. He still would have had to wait for Earl and Bud to get it on. But yeah, that's some bullshit. I want to drop the belts to make it easy. Now I'm ready for the rematch. Nah, nigga. run me my man's fucking Undisputed talking about Catterall or don't run me shit. I wouldn't do shit with Josh Taylor. Fuck them. Don't give him no fucking reprieve. Let him stand in his bullshit. That shit had me pissed off beyond belief, yo. I couldn't fucking believe it. And I wasn't going for either one of them when this fight started. I was a boxing fan looking at a fight with all the marbles on the table. And that's what happened. I said, oh, fuck that shit. But we'll see. We'll see what Catterall gonna do. Josh Taylor, you have no honor. Your credibility is shot. Shot. Anywho, so I did want to mention before I get out here. Remember the rumor mill that was going on about Terrence Crawford taking $20 million. Then I hear $25 million. But he's asking for that, like he's pricing stuff out. And everybody's like, well, what's wrong with Bud? Like something wrong with Bud. Now, my assessment of that was pretty much no assessment. I was like, well, I can't assess it. I can't judge it because I don't have enough information. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how you have one side of the information, but you don't have the other side. So now, thanks to my boy B Mac on the Mac Mob, we got the other side of the coin. Now, I've been watching. It's funny to me. He might let us know that after all, Terrence Crawford seems more credible for asking what he asked for because Errol Spence asked for $100 million. Let me repeat that. Errol Spence asked for $100 million. And B-Mac on the Mac Mob put that out, claiming the sources, he got that from a source. Y'all know the sources, the same sources they give for Nine and Blue Blood and BFTB and all the other channels. Their source, the same sources. Now, I didn't say nothing bad. You hardly ever hear me call anybody's channel names out, but I didn't just say nothing bad. I just said that they using the same source, and good for them. Good job, B-Mac. Good job with getting that source. Boy, that source is the gift that keep on giving, ain't it? It's the gift that keep on giving. Yes. So now we know Errol Spence asked for $100 million. So do it seem outrageous now that Bud would ask for 20 or whatever the new one is, 25? It might be 30 next week. But I think that's fair. That's reasonable, don't y'all? But some people out here got an issue with this information. I don't have an issue. I don't see what the issue is. Sources say the sources say. So I don't have an issue, but shout out to the Mac Mob for clearing that one up for me, because now I can say, I can make an assessment on that whole situation right there. And I would say that Terrence Crawford is fair, and he's not overreaching, and he's not pricing himself out. You got one guy asking for $100 million, you got the other guy asking for 20 or 25, whatever number they want to say. Cool. If anybody find fault in that, yeah, y'all can chime in if y'all don't see the relevance of it. I couldn't say when it was just one side. Like, even if somebody would have just said that Errol Spence was asking for $100 million, I mean, what do I think? I couldn't really say nothing because I need to know what Terrence asked for. But now we know what both asked for. So that's cool, right? That's fair, right? Super Bros X say, the hate for Bud Crawford is unreal. A lot of these channels don't respect his greatness. Yeah, the one thing that I hate, and it's just me, I hate it. I mean, I ain't gonna lie. I hate that narrative, I'm gonna say it like that. Is when people be like, oh, I like Bud. No, you don't. You clearly don't like him. People see it. You don't. And there's nothing wrong with that. You have the right to feel how you feel. I don't, there's no issue for me there if you don't like him. I just don't understand the issue that when he doesn't like you back, or he won't talk to you, or he not gonna tell you nothing, or when people act like that they gotta like they can get information from this man. I don't get it, because from my understanding in life and just using common sense, if two people don't like each other, they're not gonna talk to each other. They're not gonna break bread with each other. They're not gonna share information with each other. So when people act like that they know Terrence for a fact, this, that, and the other, I don't know how you know that. Because common sense will tell you, if you don't like him, he ain't gonna like you. We love Terrence Crawford over here. He don't come on my show. And Terrence, open invitation, as always. As always. But hey, I don't know who these remarkable sources are, but sources say, and I'm glad that others are starting to get used to these sources. Shout outs to y'all. Shout outs to y'all. But thank you, the Mac Mob, because he cleared up. He very much cleared up, this 100 million. That's a question that I had. And if anybody got an issue with it, I don't see how you gonna have an issue with it. I don't have an issue with it. I don't know how you would have an issue with it, but I see people got an issue with it. Back Mob, people got an issue with it. I done seen a couple of videos. It's funny to me, but thank God the source is a sharing source, and sharing is caring. Thank God. Anywho, but that's all I got for y'all today. So we put a button on that. Terrence Crawford is not reaching for asking for 20 million or 25. He's actually being fair. He's actually humbling himself, because you got Earl Spence asking for 100 million. So anybody got an issue with that? I don't know why you would, but I don't. Hey, the source is sharing. That means they caring. Anywho, so like I said, when you know better, you'll do better. And you know what? Hey, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Hopefully everybody had a great weekend or whatever. Happy Independence Day to whoever celebrates that. And just be careful out there, and do your best. Until tomorrow, peace.